And this morning we join our network, our international network on TikTok. We're on YouTube. We are on Trovo in Europe. We are on Twitch. We are on 2 Facebook pages as well as Instagram. So good morning and aloha from Hawaii. Now, what are we talking about? A thought dressed in emotion coagulates into physicality. Well, when something coagulates into physicality, it becomes solid, or what we know as matter. Something tangible, solid that you can touch and feel, and that kind of thing. So, we want to present this to you and break it down, okay? Because in our opinion, okay, the difference between success and failure in understanding is the way it's presented. So here we go. So a thought dressed in emotion, what does that mean? That means simply, good morning, Jay. Jay is our moderator on TikTok, so I want to say good morning, Jay. So coagulate, right? Make physical, make tangible. Okay, so how is this done? Well, you marry, okay, intention with emotion. You marry intention with emotion. Why is that? Well, a thought originates in the brain as an electromagnetic signal. Okay, now that signal means that neurons fire together. When they fire together, they wire together. Okay, thoughts alone are just fleeting. They're just energetic. They have a frequency, but they're just fleeting until you apply emotion to it, until you marry it with emotion. Then what? Well, then it starts to take shape, okay, and things start to materialize. So can thoughts become things? All day long. All day long. But thoughts only become things when you add emotion to it, okay? So when a thought is charged with emotion, strong emotion, it doesn't matter what the thought is. It doesn't matter if it's positive or negative. It could be angry, okay? It could be happy, it could be sad. But anything that you expressed in thought with emotion, when you marry it with emotion, will materialize, okay? Because it triggers the limbic system. What happens? Well, it's without getting too deep into it, okay? It involves your hypothalamus, your amygdala, okay? And you can research this. There's solid science behind this. So when science looks at manifestation, they break it down through all of these processes. But thoughts become things. Now, how does that work with the subconscious? Well, with the subconscious, it's a matter of memorizing the process. So the subconscious learns in repetition. Once you feed it a certain thought with emotion, it remembers it. Once it remembers it, what happens? It works with the superconscious to materialize. Now, this process could take exterior sources. But we know from the law of one that everything is connected. Now, whatever you call the superconscious, if you want to call it God, if you want to call it energy, if you want to call it source, if you want to call it infinite intelligence, if you want to call it, the master architect, there's so many terms, okay? But there is an origin. Science knows that there is an origin. Do they know what the origin is? No, not yet. Not yet. They're close. They're very close. But you have the power in here because you have a subconscious, conscious, and superconscious all in here. The kingdom is within. Nothing is out there, out there. There is no out there, out there. The only thing out there is nature. Okay, and nature has energy as well. Nature is intelligent as well. The blades of grass outside are intelligent. The trees communicate with each other. Trees communicate with each other through the roots. They don't communicate like we do. So, can you talk to a tree? Yeah. Can the tree hear you? Well, theoretically, it's already been proven that you can talk to your plants and the plants do better because you speak loving, kind words to it. There's been experiments where, when you speak kind, loving things to even objects like rice, the rice doesn't spoil as fast. So it's not about, a theory here or a theory here. It's about everything is intelligent. Human beings are far more intelligent than they realize. And I'm using intelligence in the intelligence sense, not the knowledge sense, not acquired knowledge. But if we have to go there, I will tell you that you were born with infinite knowledge. Because you are part of the network that is the superconscious. So, if we look at it like a computer, your conscious mind is like the operating system. Your subconscious is your hard drive. The superconscious is the network you're plugged into, energetically. Okay, now, if what I'm saying sounds crazy to you, then you're probably not ready to sit through this live. So awareness is the ability that the human has to observe themselves in motion. Does it work for us? Yeah. Does it work against us? Yeah. So everything works for and against us, depending on how we use it. How does it work for you? Well, with a greater sense of awareness, navigating any problem, navigating any system becomes easy. Why? Because your awareness pulls you out of it, whatever it is, whatever system it is, whatever job it is, whatever process it is, and allows you to look back in it. So you don't have to be distracted into it. You don't have to be bound to it. Okay, the Christians have a saying. They say you can be in the world, but not of the world. And that's what we were talking about yesterday. Okay, so you can be in it and not of it. You can be in it and not belong to it. You can be there, but not engaged in it. You can observe it without being sucked into it or pulled into it. Or like we said last week, right? Like this, okay, bound to it. A greater sense of awareness allows you to do this. It allows you to let go. Some people call that surrender. So you can surrender. What does surrender mean? Does that mean you lose? No, that means you win. That means whatever this is for you, when you surrender, when you let go, it has no power over you. Okay, think of a horse, and the horse is running away, and you're holding the rope, and the horse is dragging you. At what point do you let go? When do you surrender? Maybe you need to be dragged on the ground a few yards. Maybe you need to experience some pain. Maybe you need to get a little skinned up before you let go. At what point do you let go? At what point do you surrender? So what do you surrender to? You surrender to awareness. That would suggest that, oh, I see this, but I don't need to engage in this. I see this going on, but I don't have to be a part of this. There's a lot of things I saw in my life that I was just there. I didn't engage with it. I just let it pass. Because I knew how to meditate. Meditate is becoming the observer. Meditate is going, okay, I see this. I'll allow it to pass. I see this thought. I will allow it to pass without engaging with the thought. Now, if you engage with the same thought over and over and over again, it becomes a belief in your subconscious. So by allowing the thought to pass, by allowing the thought to clear means clear out of your mind. Allowing the emotion to clear. Okay, so let's say sadness, something made you sad. Okay, sadness is here. If you allow sadness to leave, sadness will leave. Did you get upset? Okay, so you're upset. Maybe you're angry. Anger is here. Now what? Well, if you want to engage with anger, you can be angry. You have that choice. Or you can allow it to pass. How do you do that? Say stop. Or say no. And don't engage. So if you're engaging, or let's say joining with all of your emotions all of the time, because you're a human being and you experience a myriad of emotions all day long. Okay, why? What brings the emotion? Thought. So the question always goes back to, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? Did it make you happy? Did it make you upset? Did you join with happy? Did you join with upset? Sometimes you don't even have to join with happy. You can just observe happy and allow it to pass. And observe the emotion. Allow it to pass. Observe angry and allow it to pass. I can't even tell you how many times I get upset during the day. Mostly with something I've done or something I've thought. But I allow it to pass. Because if you allow it to pass, number one, you don't join. You don't engage. Number two, you don't pass it to someone else. You don't give it to someone else. Why? Because you don't produce that vibration that gives it to someone else, or that urges someone else to join, to engage. Some people call this self-control. Some people call it the observer. If you can observe yourself thinking, if you can observe yourself feeling, if you can observe yourself in real time speaking, who's doing the observing? It's very easy to switch to the observer. had to work in many toxic work environments. There are many. There was one time I remember mentioning to someone about a toxic work. Oh, this is a toxic work environment. And he was telling me, boy, if you think that's a toxic work environment, you should come to our place. You should come and see our place, right? I remember walking into this store. It's a big box store. And I got very upset. It was across from my office. So I used to go there all the time. And I got very upset because I saw this guy who came to Hawaii from somewhere else. I saw him order people around like he was in the military, like he was better than them, like he was, a commander. And I thought to myself, wow, this is a toxic work environment. And some are better and worse than others. But in that instance, where someone is commanding you or being demanding with you, or let's say being unfair to you, you can observe without reacting. You just observe. In other words, you can observe something without participating in it, without joining with it. So how do you get real good at doing this? Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization. Now I want to make something clear, because all week I've been talking about this. Okay? I've been talking about various elements of the process. So if you employ affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization at one thing, it has to happen. It's obligated to happen. It's universal law. It's in the Quran. It's in the Bible. It's in the Bhagavad Gita. It's in the Vedas. It is written. Now, I also want to make clear that you can just speak things into existence. It may take a little longer, maybe not. Depends on what it is. But you can speak it into existence. You can write it. You can write it into existence. When you do affirmations, and you write your affirmation, I am so happy and grateful now that I am employed at XYZ company, thank you. If you do it like that, and you use this for 63 days, and you write it out for 63 days, your subconscious will see it as a habit, as a belief. Okay, let's look at the tree again. The roots of the tree are your subconscious beliefs. Okay, you can write something into a belief in 63 days. What happens then? It begins to shape your paradigm. The trunk of the tree is your paradigm. Now, the trunk of the tree is the way you see the world, your paradigm, your outlook on life, based upon what you believe, based upon the roots, the trunk of the tree. The fruits of the tree are your actions that turn into consequences. Some people look at consequences like a dirty word. Oh, that's a bad word, consequences. If I do this, I'm going to suffer the consequences. No, there's good consequences. But these actions give you results. The fruits of the tree give you results. You will know them by their fruits. You will know them by their actions. You know, the old actions speak louder than words. You can say anything to anybody, but how are you going to act? What are you going to do? Action. Now, in order to manifest in anything, there needs to be action. It's universal law. But unless the beliefs match, build the paradigm correctly to produce the right actions, the results are going to be off. The results are not going to be there. Can you do random actions and get temporary results? Sure. You can do that. You're a human being. You're very powerful. The kingdom is in here. But what happens with temporary actions? Temporary results. Without changing your paradigm. Temporary results. How does that work? Well, eventually, everything shifts back to the beliefs that you have in the roots of the tree. Okay, your subconscious beliefs. Some people call the subconscious the unconscious because you don't think about it. It's just there. It's a program in your hard drive that was put there by your operating system, the frontal lobe of your brain, where you process 1 million thoughts a day. The most predominant thoughts become beliefs. If you sit down and think about one thing all day long, the same thing all day long, you're going to meditate on this all day long. Pretty soon, you will believe it. Thoughts become things. Thoughts become beliefs. Whether you believe in God or you don't believe in God, either way, you're a believer. The question is, what do you believe? If you ask me if God is real, yeah, God is very real. Very real. Man's definition of God, it's not complete enough. God is bigger than description is able to define. God is bigger than that. So today we're talking about a thought dressed in emotion becomes reality, or coagulates into physicality, if you want to say it that way. It's a fancy way of saying it, right? But something as simple as a thought, which is electromagnetic, can turn into a physical substance, can turn into something real that you can touch, something you can touch like this, something you can touch. There's a process. So if you're trying to manifest a pen, how do you manifest a pen? I saw this reel from a movie, right? The guy goes, sell me this pen. Movies. The other question is, what kind of movies are you watching? That's visualization. You're a human being. You are highly susceptible to influence. Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization. Visualization, movies, TV shows. Points of view. Opinions. Something material and physical like this can be achieved through thought. Because thoughts become things. How does a thought become things? Well, let's say you're trying to manifest a pen. So maybe you don't have a pen. So you can't write your affirmation. So maybe you just speak it. I am so happy and grateful now that I have a pen. Thank you. I am so happy and grateful now that I have a pen. Thank you. So if you speak it enough and you use visualization, say you stand in front of a mirror and you look at yourself and you say, I am so happy and grateful now that I have a pen. It goes into your subconscious. Now your subconscious knows the topic. We're doing pen? Okay. What happens to the subconscious in that instance? Well, it works with the superconscious. How does that work? Well, you will get inspired thought on how to get a pen from the superconscious. Maybe you meet somebody. Maybe you express the idea that you're looking for a pen. And maybe they go, hey, I have a pen, here you are. I have an extra pen, there you go. Maybe somebody gives you $5. And because it's in your subconscious, you go, oh, okay, now I have money to buy a pen. So the variables are infinite. Hi, B. Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you. You're very welcome. Hi, Zorka. Good morning. Aloha from Hawaii. So the variables are infinite. The possibilities are infinite. You're walking down the street, and because you're thinking about a pen, because you're speaking about a pen, your reticular activating system in your brainstem begins to filter out everything and focuses on a pen. And you're walking down the street, and you just, out of the corner of your eye, you happen to notice there's a pen down there. And you find a pen. And what do you say? You know, I was just thinking about a pen, and I found this pen. I was just thinking about a pen. And my friend gave me a pen. Jay gave me this pen. This pen came from Japan. I'm starting to like this pen better than this one because it's bigger, it's easier to hold. So when I do this, it's easier to show you. So I use this for visuals. I am so happy and grateful now that I have a pen. Thank you. But if you didn't have the pen, that's how you would get a pen. Very easy. Speak it into existence. Speaking it into existence involves your subconscious. It's nothing mystical. It's nothing magical in the magic sense. You're a human being. You're the highest life form on the planet that we know of. Or maybe that we're allowed to know of. Infinite possibilities. Everything you need is in here, not out there. When you need something, go in here. When you need something, write it. When you need something, speak it. When you need something, ask, but ask in here. All you have to do is ask in this one. You don't need to ask out here. Close your eyes and ask. If you've been following the lives, then you already know. If you haven't been following the lives, then go look at the other ones where we did. How can you make something happen for you? Well, go in here. How can you observe a thought and allow it to pass? Observe an emotion and allow it to pass without engaging or joining in it. In here. Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization. Anything you want, it's in here. It has to be in here before it's out here. Thoughts become things. Is it really that simple? Yeah. But it involves repetition. That's the challenge, the repetition. Your subconscious learns in repetition. So the question becomes, can you write this affirmation for 63 days, 2 months? In the very beginning, I was skeptical, right? I was skeptical. But I said, okay, and I made a deal with myself. I said, all right, you're going to do this. This was in 2007. So you're going to do this for 60 days, for 2 months. And if this doesn't work, you're never, ever, ever going to do this again. Because then it's bullcrap. And I don't want to be a part of it. So I did it for 2 months. And then, like this one, this is when I just went through this tablet. Okay, so these are affirmations. It's not meditation. Okay, and I read the dates on the side. Okay, these are affirmations. These are orders for my subconscious to follow. These are directives for my subconscious. And right now, my subconscious is listening and does not know whether I'm talking to you or talking to myself. And sometimes when I need something, I sit here and I talk to myself. And you can do it too, okay? But like I said, it's repetition. Can you do 2 months of repetition? So I did that in 2007. I have maybe 12 or 13 tablets like this in storage. I did a video on it. If you're on TikTok, you can see it on my account. You manifested one of your dream BMWs in a few months with no job. Yeah, I did that too. Yeah, good job, B. Good job. Good job. Yeah, you don't even need a job. So here's something I always tell my clients, B. If you think that money is the only way you can get something, you're suffering from limited thinking. Good job. Good job. Somebody could give you a BMW. Somebody could loan you a BMW and never come back. So maybe this is a good time to reiterate the story of one of my clients. She was a single mom. She had 3 kids, young children, and a minivan, a Dodge Caravan that kept breaking down. She was running out of money to fix it. She didn't have a good job. And I gave her an affirmation to write. I am so happy and grateful now that I have a new van. Thank you. And I said, Hoku, you have to write this for 2 months. 2 months, can you do that? She's like, yeah, I can do that. And then I explained the process to her so that it would make sense to her. And she goes, really? That's the way it works? I said, yeah, that's the way it works. It's your conscious mind, your subconscious, your superconscious, and the reticular activating system in your brainstem. So she said, okay. So I gave her her affirmation. I texted it to her. She wrote it out every day for 2 months. 2 months later, I think 2.5 months later, she comes to my office. She goes, you'll never guess what happened. I'm like, what? She goes, well, my friend has to leave town. Her husband's in the military. He got transferred, and they have to go. And she said I could have her van. All I have to do is transfer the title. She gave it to me because they have to go right away. It wasn't a brand new van. It had about 10,000 miles on it, but it was pristine. It was clean. It looked like a new van. You think she was complaining? No, she was ecstatic. Brand new van. Coincidence? So then you come down to repetition. Repetition. Can I do this over and over and over and over? Some people pray over and over and over and over, right? Executives write over and over and over. They journal. I have a different opinion of journaling. It depends on what kind of journaling you're doing. Okay, if you're journaling about what happened yesterday, you're bringing yesterday into today. If you're bringing yesterday into today, you start living yesterday today. Your subconscious begins to go, oh, we're doing this again? Repetition. And some of these things today you can take into tomorrow. What happens when the subconscious learns these activities? Well, you keep living the same life over and over every day, over and over and over and over. And pretty soon, you run out of this eternal now. Your now. There is only now. Time is a human construct. But you've carried everything day to day to day, the worries, the stress, the struggle is real. Struggle is real. The struggle is here. The prison is here. Struggle is perception. And people are like, no, but I really struggle. Yeah. When you stop struggling here, you stop struggling here. The universal law of correspondence says, when you stop struggling in here, there will be no struggle out here. What does that mean? The conditions that you have out here in the physical world all came from here. The kingdom is within. The power is within. Your life path unfolds for you from within. If you're experiencing struggle, you're struggling in here. If you're struggling in here, you're struggling out here. If you free yourself in here, you free yourself out here. When I was a kid, my mother used to tell me, children are a reflection on their parents. And then when I was old enough to learn things from someone who had experience in the world, I learned that that wasn't true. Children are not a reflection on their parents. Children are the mirrors of their parents. Children are the reflections of their parents. Because you have traits from your mom, you have traits from your dad, and then out of those potentialities, you form some of your own. Princess Erica, hey, how's Texas? Love Texas. I would like to see Texas one day. So out of these potentialities, there's capability as well. And you combine all of these. So even though you have traits from your mom, you have traits from your dad, you develop traits of your own. You have gifts from your mom, you have gifts from your dad, and then you develop gifts of your own. And then you take those and you pass them on to your children. So children are not, the reflections on their parents. Don't let anyone guilt trip you into that. You're a bad reflection on your parents. No. If you're a bad reflection, you're a bad reflection of your parents. Been a while. Yeah, oh, it's hot, I bet. Well, it's hot, you're hot. Just saying. Take care, Erica. Nice to see you. I follow your Facebook. It's hilarious. Love your Facebook. So, when you tell a child that, they're a bad reflection on you, you're projecting guilt onto them. Because then they feel bad. You're very welcome. Oh, what I'm doing is a bad reflection on my parents. Oh my God. Sorry to hear that, Erica. I'll wait for the next one. Just add me, just friend me anytime. Or just message me. Yeah, let me know. I loved your Facebook. It was full of truth. The hard truth, the cold truth. Yeah. So, love you too. So, never tell a child not to be a bad reflection on you. You're going to be a bad reflection on your parents. You're going to make the family shame. You'll speak it into existence. Not just that, you don't want to make someone else feel guilty. So remember, children are not reflections on their parents. They are reflections of their parents. There you go. And today we're talking about how you add emotion or marry emotion with intention to bring things into the physical. Bye, Erica. Take care. Thanks for stopping by. Take care. Okay, I'll sing you a song soon. Message me. So, how do you marry intention with emotion? Well, whatever it is you're feeling, or whatever it is you're intending, you have to put those two together, okay? Now, if you're feeling angry and you make an intention, or you intend to hurt somebody, or you intend to hurt somebody's feelings, it will manifest into the physical somehow. You never know. But if you really want to intend something good for your life and marry it with a positive emotion, you can do that. Okay, so let's go over the positive emotions. We went over that. Okay, we did that the other day. I think we keep doing that because people need to be aware, right? At the highest emotion here is love. What's the lowest? Did you say hate? No, the lowest is fear. Fear. The highest is love. So it's love, peace, gratitude, joy, passion, excitement, enthusiasm, hope, and satisfaction at the 50 percentile. What's below that? Well, the most mild of the low vibrations is worry. Then you have irritation, disappointment, criticism, anger, hate, boredom, envy, despair, grief, guilt, shame, and fear. Fear is at the very bottom. Fear is the opposite of love, not hate. But all of these negative emotions here, if you marry it with an intention, I can guarantee you it will turn out negative. It will materialize negative. So if you're trying to intentionally create something positive in your world, something positive in your life, it could be a good relationship, it could be love, it could be something material, it could be a job. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter what it is. You just need to know what and why. The better the why, the faster the manifestation. What do you mean, the better the why? The better the why. Are you doing something for yourself, or is your why about others? Is your why about serving you, or is your why about serving humanity? Is your why about serving others, or is your why only about yourself? It's not wrong to do things for you. Being selfish, right? Self-ish. Okay? Doing things for yourself. Self-love. Self-care. Those are all selfish activities, self-ish. It's not wrong. But, here's your big fat but. But, when you do things that benefit others, now you're in alignment with the superconscious. So you can call the superconscious God, you can call the superconscious good, you can call the superconscious higher self, higher intelligence, all of that. The unseen, the creator, creation. The possibilities are endless. So it's not wrong to do something for you. It's not wrong to do self-care, self-love. That's fine. But if you really want to max things out and include others, when you include others, when you do for others, when you give to others, that's where the blessings really come. Okay, I want to say that's when the blessings are even bigger. That's when the blessings come more often. That's when they always come. You know, part of our business model from day one, from the very first day, was giving. People that could, I just had another one this morning, this lady in the mainland. She couldn't afford my services. I asked her what she did for a living. She told me. So I said, you know what? I'm going to give you everything. And I gave her everything. I gave her instructions, I gave her exercises, I gave her everything. And then I told her, follow up with me in a month and we'll make sure that everything is going good for you. There are tons and tons of people that can't afford me. And that's okay. And there's tons of people that consider my services cheap. There's tons of people that are in the middle. No matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, no matter who you are, there is, people with more, people with less, and people that have what you have. Or let's say in your category or genre or whatever. But I'm just saying, when you do things that benefit others, when you give to others, you cannot escape blessings. It's impossible. When you approach life like this, right? I'm going to run this hard. I'm going to run that hard. I'm going to do this, do that. And then I'm just going to do for me. This is just for me. That's it. Never mind anybody else, just me. If you're living like that, then your consequences become heavier. Your consequences become harsher. So open your heart, give to others. Whatever you want in life, you have to give first. You want love, give love first. You want time, give time first. Some people tell me, well, Junior, I would love to give money, but I don't have money to give. No problem. Give your time. If you think money is the most valuable thing in your life, then you're worshiping money. Your time is the most valuable thing in your life. You can't get it back. You can get money back. Easy. They print money all day long. They keep printing money. They keep spending money. If you keep thinking, well, the system keeps me poor, the system keeps me down, the system, I'm here to tell you that this transcends the system. That's the big secret. That's what Jesus Christ was saying 2,000 years ago. You can transcend the system with this. You have the power here. Because Jesus was communicating that the prison is here. You're grounded into the physical reality so much that you can't see the separation between the spirit and the body. And these two are individually separate. I have an exercise I do with my clients. And when they're finished with the exercise, they snap back like that. And I said, did you feel that snap? And they said, yeah, I felt that. I said, did you feel it come out like that? And like your 100% attention is like this, and then you snap back, and they go, yeah, I felt that. What was that? I said, that's the separation between your spirit and your body. Some of them get it, and some of them are, oh. But when you start living life on a more energetic level, energy, whatever you call this in here, you want to call this a spirit, soul, energy, whatever you call this in here. Because you're not your body, you're not your name, you are this in here. That's you. You are a spiritual being having a physical experience. And you're free to do anything you want. And your core beliefs in the tree of the subconscious, the roots, construct your paradigm or the way that you see life or the way that you do things, the way that you think about things. Your actions, the fruits of the tree up here, come from your paradigm and your core beliefs. So whether you believe in God or you don't believe in God, either way you're a believer. The question is, what do you believe? Because whatever you believe will shape your paradigm. That paradigm will dictate your actions, and those actions will form results. And then thoughts become things. Then when you marry intention with emotion, it coagulates into physicality. Or let's say it another way. It becomes tangible. It becomes something you can feel, something you can touch, something that's real. I didn't believe it till I got my first brand new car, and I'm sitting in the car and I'm smelling the new leather, and I have my hands on the steering wheel. And 2 months before that, I was sitting in my bedroom imagining I was sitting on my bed like this. Okay, I'm going to imagine, okay, I'm going to smell the leather. Oh, yeah, because I knew what leather smelled like, right? So I went through all the motions. I did the visualization. I did the imagination. I did all of that, right? Yeah, I felt crazy. Of course I felt crazy. But I'm sitting there on my bed like this, like, yeah, I can smell the leather. Yeah, okay, the steering wheel, okay. And one day I'm driving under this thing that we have called the viaduct, and I'm driving under it, and I see this Infinity dealership, and I go, all right, let's go. And I just went. Inspired thought. So inspired thought comes from the superconscious, and I got that inspired thought, go, just go. And I went. 4 hours later, the guy comes out and he goes, congratulations, Bank of Hawaii took your loan. I'm like, what? I did not know my credit score. I did not know anything. All I knew was I followed the process. All I knew was there was the conscious, the subconscious, and superconscious. All I knew is in that process, because I had faith. So faith is believing in the unseen, or you could say in the superconscious, or you could say in God. And because I trusted, and because I moved forward according to how I felt from the superconscious, or you could say from intuitive thought, everything coagulated into physicality. It was amazing. And the only reason I'm doing this, I'm not saying this to flex. I've had brand new cars since 2007. I'm saying this because you can do it too. But you have to change the roots. When you change the roots, paradigm changes, actions change, results change, and you make magic because the kingdom is within. So we're going to let go of our international feed right now. We're on YouTube, we're on Twitch, we're on Trovo in Europe, and also TikTok. We want to thank you guys and say Afant Aloha from Hawaii.